Good morning. I'm looking at a particular lesson here in the workbook of A Course in Miracles. This is lesson 68. Love holds no grievances. That's a particularly big lesson. And we will get to it, but I want to look at it in a roundabout way for a moment concerning the difficulties we have with our friends and relatives when we practice A Course in Miracles. Many of us came to A Course from some experience in another religion, usually Christianity. But people from all different religions have come to the Course. I'm just looking at this from the point of view of someone who lived in the United States and now lives in Canada. Most of the people who come to the Course have had some disaffection with Christianity or Judaism. It rubbed them the wrong way. They didn't get the message of love. And the Course came into their life, and they immediately experienced a eureka that this was what they had always been looking for. Very common experience. But there comes then a problem sometimes in how to speak to others about your work in the Course. Because you may have Christian relatives or Jewish relatives. You may have parents who died in the womb, atheists. A variety of things are possible. But in some regard, you're way different than your parents or your relatives or some of your friends. And the question always comes to you, gee, what should I do? Should I tell them? And immediately, the ego brings to your mind all these possibilities. And the possibilities don't always look very good. So if you have evangelical Christian relatives, you can very well see in your mind's eye their tearful reactions to hearing this. They'll think you're in a cult, and they will certainly think you're going to hell, and they will tearfully try to persuade you to come out of it and come back to the Bible, come back to church. I told you you should have come to church with me. And there will be these tearful scenes punctuated with their admonitions that you're going to hell. And I don't want my little girl to go to hell. And it's quite a scene. And certainly nothing any of us would look forward to. So the question always comes, how do you talk to your parents or your friends who have no interest in the Course, may be deeply religious in Christianity or Judaism or some other religion, and they're going to regard your choosing the Course as your path for life as something terrible. It has been the capstone of your life to find the Course. And they may even see that you're happy. But as soon as they find out that it's not the old-time religion, their happiness may very well easily turn to great sorrow and supplication, and the ego is going to put on a tremendous show. And obviously, all of us are reluctant to enter into that. So I talked to my dear friend Ken Wapnick about this, because all of my relatives are Christians. They're all evangelicals. They're all Baptists. And I have plenty of friends in Vancouver who are evangelical Christians, and some friends that are devout atheists. They're the least of my problems. But the evangelical Christians, they present their own problems. because they're your brothers, as surely as anyone else, and it is your job to see the Christ in them, even if they can't see it in themselves. And yet you really don't want to go through all the Sturm und Drang of them bringing over their friends to pray for you and lay hands on you and weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth about how poor Joe is going to hell. Some of my evangelical friends from my hometown in Missouri, when they discovered I was a practitioner of A Course in Miracles, actually started sending me emails and messages about how I was going to hell and change your ways now. And they would send me Bible verses. I always thought this was so interesting, since I have 2 degrees in theology, in Christian theology. Whatever my reasons for studying A Course in Miracles, it's not because I didn't know the Bible. Okay. So, these little scenes will be different for your life, but they're definitely coming. And how are you going to handle them? So I talked to my good friend Ken Wapnick about that. And Ken said, well, if the Course is your path, and if you're secure about that, then you can tell them or not tell them, and their response or lack of response makes no difference. If they absolutely go off the rails and will not stop talking about your demise in hell, then try to change the subject. Don't bring it up again. That would be the kindest thing for them. So I went through this process of sort of tarrying about making myself a public image in the Course. And then I finally saw the wisdom of Ken's ways, and I just didn't care. This is the path that I have chosen to go to God with, and it brings me great peace and happiness. If people can't accept that, I'm not going to be troubled over it. And I know that it takes a while to get to this place. You're thinking, oh, my mother will it'll drive her into the crazy house. You know, the ego will give you all sorts of excuse. And those are all a part of the fabric we have of needing external validation from those who are close to us, whether it's your friends or your family. But you really don't need that external validation. And if they do love you, they will come around and love you anyway. Even if even if you have joined a religion that they don't approve of at all. If they love you, they'll come around. So I had a wonderful friend who was a strict, die-hard Baptist. And what should happen but her daughter married a Roman Catholic. Well, for a Baptist, that's just about the end of the world. Something that's unacceptable, could not possibly cope with this. Oh, what is going to happen? What have I done to bring this on me? And finally, all the Sturm und Drang calmed down, and she accepted the fact that her girl was marrying a Roman Catholic, and he was a very good man, and they were very much in love, and they've had a wonderful family. So some of the Sturm und Drang will calm down. My advice, though, is don't make formal declarations. It just excites people's egos. Just be who you are. Practice the Course. It will get around. And people will see a difference in you. But you don't have to go intentionally inciting people's egos by announcing to the world, I am now practicing A Course in Miracles. Ha, 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 ha. That's what you don't want to do. because you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to give them needless pain, even if it is in their egos. Illusion hurts just as much as the real stuff. Of course, the real stuff is also illusion. There is no pain, because there is only love. Love holds no grievances. Because you see, you might be very tempted once you get, let's suppose you get highly rejected by your friends or your parents. Let's say your friends all of a sudden drop off and shun you. You don't hear from them anymore. No emails, no calls. They've just shunned you. Yeah. Well, Joe's gone and dropped off the deep end. He believes things now you would not possibly believe. We don't know what we're going to do with him, but we're sure not going to talk to him anymore. That kind of shunning is very common. So your friends who are evangelicals or other form of strict religionists may do that. They may drop you off. And let that be okay. Because if they really do love you, they'll come back. And so you're going to be tempted maybe to hold a grievance against them. Love holds no grievances. This is a long lesson, and I want to read just parts of it. You who were created by love, like itself, can hold no grievances and know yourself, your higher self. To hold a grievance is to forget who you are. To hold a grievance is to see yourself as a body. To hold a grievance is to let the ego rule. To hold a grievance is to let the ego rule your mind and to condemn the body to death. Perhaps you do not yet fully realize just what holding grievances does to your mind. It makes you believe that Let's start this again. Perhaps you do not yet fully realize just what holding grievances does to your mind. It seems to split you off from your source and make you unlike him. It makes you believe that he is like what you think you have become. For no one can conceive of his Creator as unlike himself. Shut off from your higher self, which remains unaware of its likeness to its Creator, your higher self seems to sleep, while the part of your mind that weaves illusions in its sleep appears to be awake. Can all this arise from holding grievances? Oh, yes. For he who holds grievances denies he was created by love, and his Creator has become fearful to him in his dream of hate. Who can dream of hatred and not fear God? Wow. So the last thing you want to do is to hold a grievance against any of those relatives, against any of those friends that knock you off their dance card because they found out that you practice A Course in Miracles. It will astonish you. You will not at first be able to understand it. You will think, I have learned the ways of God in studying A Course in Miracles. I have found happiness that I didn't have before. I have found peace. And you'll think, who could not possibly like that? How could anyone not possibly want me to pursue that if they were my friend? Well, there is the issue, of course. But the answer is not nearly as dark as what you might think. So the last thing you want to do to any of your friends who shun you, or any of your family who react in a dramatic way, is to hold a grievance against them. It will shut off your ability to continue in the Course, and it will do a lot more than that to you. Holding grievances is an attack on God. if it's a path you've chosen and you're sure of the path, that's the main thing. Then it doesn't matter who knows. Now, when you're beginning to study the course, maybe you don't know if it's your path. It's a common experience. In that case, don't talk to anyone about it, unless you have a friend who's also studying it. There's no need to excite other people's egos. But once you have determined the course is the path for you, then be happy about it. And whoever knows is just fine. Yeah. Let go of that little ego story that something terrible is going to happen to you because your Baptist relatives know that you practice A Course in Miracles, or because your atheistic parents now know you practice A Course in Miracles. Your ego would like to give you a terrible little story of what terrible things are going to happen if you tell them. Well, you don't even need to tell them. They'll find out. You just practice who you are. And you stay up high where the melos is. Up high where the love is. And let little stories of the ego pass on by. Love holds no grievances. Would you be willing to relinquish your grievances if you believed all this were so? Perhaps you do not think you can let your grievances go. That, however, is simply a matter of motivation. Today we will try to find out how you would feel without them. If you succeed, even by ever so little, there will never be a problem in motivation ever again. And it gives it our practice lessons. This is important. Let's do this one. Begin today's extended practice period by searching your mind for those against whom you hold what you regard as major grievances. Some of these will be quite easy to find. Then think of the seemingly minor grievances you hold against those you like and even think you love. It will quickly become apparent that there is no one against whom you do not cherish grievances of some sort. This has left you alone in the universe in your perception of yourself. Determine now to see all these people as friends. Say to them all, thinking of each one in turn as you do so, I would see you as my friend, that I may remember you as part of me and come to know myself. Love holds no grievances. When I let all my grievances go, I will know I am perfectly safe. Could be maybe you're afraid of letting people know that you study the Course because you still secretly hold some grievance against them. Then the Course would ask you to give up those grievances. And then it would be perfectly safe for you to tell them that you're not a Baptist anymore. You're a student of A Course in Miracles. These little barriers we put in our way are silly little things, and we can cross them easily. Peace to you today.